Why do people feel financially left behind even when they're not? I've got a couple of theories that I know from my own life I've suffered for, and we're going to look at those today. The first one and the biggest one is actually comparison culture. For me, I look at all the other people who we work with. As I work in finance, there is an awful lot of money going around, and I think, well, I've got a nice house, I've got a buy-to-let, got a nice car, but when I look at the person next to me, they've got a bigger house, more buy-to-lets, and a bigger, better, faster car. Do I need any of those things? No. But it makes you feel as though you do. And when I look into it, I was talking to a colleague of mine, and he is in his 60s, and he's got way more. I just thought to myself, why am I comparing myself to his chapter 20 when I'm only on chapter 5? I've only just got started. You look at people that have got millions in their 20s and you go, well, I'm nearly 40. Why don't I have that? Does it matter? No, there are so few people that actually manage to achieve that, but you see them everywhere, especially on YouTube. If you're looking at the finance niche in particular, everyone seems to be making money, and you're there struggling, working a normal job and not making the sort of money that you wish you could or that you think you could be. It took a long time, and I know I still do. When I see someone with something, I think that's awesome, they must have worked hard for it. But there's a little bit in the back of my mind that goes, man, why aren't I there? I'm just as clever as them and I know what I'm doing, so why haven't I got it? And I think that comparison really is the thief of joy. If you were just to focus on yourself, you can actually see that you're not doing too badly. There are reasons you feel worse off that aren't just psychological. We've got things like rising costs and stagnant wages. The cost of living in the last few years for your housing, your education, they've skyrocketed. But your income and most people's income haven't kept up yet. So this creates a feeling of things are costing more, but your salary stayed the same. So the gap between what you were earning and what you're spending has compressed to a point where you're really feeling that pressure. It also means that you're getting close to chasing the stability that you're after. Another common point is people don't actually understand their finances enough. Many people don't know where they even stand financially. They just feel as though they're not well off. So if you were to actually have a look at what your assets, what your liabilities are, put it on a spreadsheet, and then you can get a realistic picture. I did this and I was actually shocked by how decent it was. I'm not a millionaire by any stretch of the imagination, but I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And then I was talking to other people and they were saying, well, at your age, I didn't have that. And I just thought, okay, maybe it isn't too bad. What you also need is clear benchmarks or goals that you can hit in your life so you're actually working towards something. Because without those, it's quite hard to know where you actually are and where you want to be. So we have, my wife and I, a target and where we want to get to within the next 10 years. We've got a plan for savings, etc. to do that. And that is where a lot of people sort of go wrong, is that they set very unrealistic expectations when it comes to the amount of money they need. People go, I want £1 million in the bank. £1 million is an awful lot of money, and still is, regardless of what anyone says. In the context of the global economy, no, it's not. But for any one individual, that is more money than you'll ever need if you invest it correctly. A society that we live in as well promotes milestones that are sometimes really difficult. So like owning your own house, being debt-free, retiring early, as well as must-haves by certain ages. And all of those things, when you don't actually have them, make you feel as though you are missing out. And the pressure to have all of them is actually unbearable. So what you need to focus on is, rather than the invisible problems, the problems that you can't do anything about, you should look at the small wins that you have. Paying off a credit card, for example, making sure you've got your emergency fund in place. That way you can set small little milestones that you can tick off. And as our main man Dave Ramsey says, that finance is 80% behavior, 20% maths. One of the problems with the invisible progress problem is that people underestimate how far they've actually come. After this video, take a moment just to have a look back of, let's say, 5 to 10 years ago where you were financially. I know for me, I was earning a little over 10 years ago, only around about 15 to 20,000 a year. And that has multiplied many, many times now. If I look back, I'd set a target when I was earning that. I will never need any more money than 50,000 a year. When I crossed that, I didn't feel happy. When I've got more than that, I still was like, there's got to be something more, because it isn't about the number you're hitting. You actually need to realize and take a moment to appreciate where you've come from. And only when you can appreciate where you've been, you can appreciate where you're going. A large part of why people really feel stuck is they've got a huge weight holding them down. And many times, literally, it will feel like you're drowning. And that's the shadow of debt in your life. Even manageable debt, so paying off credit cards monthly, car loans, it can feel like you're not progressing anywhere because you're paying for things you already own. Even when you're able to make the monthly payments, it can still feel real difficult and like you're a failure because you owe money. I think debt is one of, if not used correctly and for assets that actually benefit, as in grow your wealth, are one of the biggest wealth killers out there. So take a car, for example. I've had 2 cars in the last 10 years, of which we paid both of them outright in cash. The first one was only £5,000. It was a tiny VW. And then we've got a basic Toyota Corolla now, which is lovely. I love that car. It's amazing. Yes, it'd be nice to have, but you do not need a Lamborghini and Aston Martin whilst you're building up. So don't let any of these cars suck all of that income that you're earning that could be building you wealth. Talking of that, another thing that actually impacts on how wealthy you feel is your actual inflation of your lifestyle creep. So as you earn more, you start spending more. You get a bigger house, a better car, etc. This is really dangerous. The expectation when you do get a new job for your life to improve is incredibly high. I knew when I went from being a cashier at the bank to being a business manager, I expected my life to change massively. I thought, I will go out, buy the nicest car, we'll get a new house, and we actually went shopping for both of those. Then we thought, what do we actually need? What do we want? And it wasn't one more bedroom, which we wouldn't use. It wasn't a faster car because there's traffic jams everywhere. We can't actually go any faster. We took that step back and then realized we want to make sure that we start building wealth for our future, as well as enjoying the cash we do have, rather than wasting it on things we won't need. I know it's difficult when you look to the future and things can look very uncertain. So there's concerns about inflation, the economy, wars, whether you need to save for healthcare, for your retirement, any economic stability, and it can make you feel real insecure. This has a large impact on how you feel about your money because you never feel safe. Even if you actually have a regular job, you might fear, what happens if this industry takes a downturn? Could you lose your job? And fear of the uncertainty of that is an actual heavy weight as well. I think it's really important not to focus on just what's missing in your life, but to take a step back, look at what you have, realize if you're not where you want to be, come up with a plan, a very clear plan. The way I do it is I've got a quarterly plan, and that's for the business, for work, where we can go, what we're doing with our savings in that short period of time, so on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. We've got an annual plan, which for me is trying to fill up my ISA, trying to get the business bigger. Then we've got a longer term plan, so 5-10 years. What are we actually saving towards? What is the point of our existence? And that's a huge question to try and answer. You're the only one that can answer it yourself. So for me personally, it is having a nice time when we can. It's working hard while I'm working, and when I'm off, making sure I enjoy that time. So that's having some spending money that we can go out. We save for holidays every year, so we can do those kind of things. And if you're not in a position where you can afford to do that, take a step back from there. Where do you want to be? What sort of job do you want to be doing? Work out how you get that job. And then even if it's just a few hours on the side, every couple of days, over the weekends, build towards that. You can do this easily. I did it, and I cannot believe, I'm not a genius. I'm probably bang on average when it comes to intelligence, my ability to do things. You have to just make sure you try it, because you fail 100% of things that you don't try. I want to encourage people to actually get together in the comments of this video, Let me know what you're looking to do, what your goals are. I'll do a full video on where I want to be in the future, so look out for that, and thanks so much for watching.